And welcome to the special audience edition of Hannity. Now, every year, thousands of college students pack their bags, they head to the beach and beach destinations for the most coveted week of the year, at spring break. But along with all that fun in the sun, there's also excessive drinking, partying, drugs, and much, much more, and sometimes with deadly consequences. So, with that in mind, we sent the co-host of Fox and Friends First, Ainsley Earhart, down to Panama City Beach, Florida, to see firsthand exactly what's going on at spring break with your kids. This is what she found.
This is Spring Break 2014, Panama City Beach, Florida, one of the many destinations around the country where college students go when they have the week off of school. It gets wild, it gets crazy, and anything goes. We're here to get up. All right, what kinds of things are you seeing? Crazy things?
We're seeing boobs, twerking, liquor, weed, everything.
Wildest thing I've seen is 2 girls on 5 guys.
It gets pretty sexual on the beach here.
I saw someone on these bitches the other day.
We saw somebody snort cocaine off a girl's
In public?
in public.
What's the craziest thing you've seen? When do people start drinking here?
Oh, literally like right when we wake up.
Which is what time?
We wake up at like 10. We wake up early.
When will you guys stop drinking?
When we pass out.
Yeah, about 2 a.m.
Everyone, that's the mission. It's to get drunk. It's not to get a buzz.
No, it's to get drunk.
Do you see a lot of drugs here?
Yes.
Out in the open, people smoking marijuana.
Yeah, I just did it right down the beach.
Really? Have you gotten arrested for it?
Not yet.
Everyone out here drinking?
Hell yeah, I hope so. If they ain't, they doing wrong.
What time do you guys start drinking in the morning?
6 a.m.
And what time do you stop?
Whenever you come home with me.
I have vodka and Red Bull, and I'm getting crunk, then a mug.
Are you drinking right now?
What does it look like?
And why were you arrested?
Public indecency.
Last night I got in a fight at a bar with some random guy.
Did you get arrested?
No, I got kicked out though. He tried to fight me and I fought him back.
All right, joining me now for reaction, our studio audience. All right, Jedediah, we got drinking, we got drugs, we got sex on the beach, we got arrests, we've got also every year, Ainsley told us this week, fatalities.
Where are their parents is what I want to know. I mean,
they're not at spring break.
Someone had to pay for this. Someone can be there to withhold things when they see this kind of activity happening. I mean, these kids aren't doing this on their own. A lot of these kids get their parents' consent. Say, hey, mom, dad,
they're
can
paying
I go
for
on
it.
spring break? Can I have some cash? And their parents are saying yes. Now, I don't know if that's because parents don't actually know what's going on. I'm hoping that when they see this footage, it's an eye-opener for them. And they say, you know what, guys? You're not going anymore.
Bo Dietl, let me ask, in all the years you've been a detective, Bo Dietl, I've known you for a long time. Any parent ever hire you to go spy on their kids at spring break? Bo?
Not spring break. My company's been hired. I didn't go down myself, but
oh yeah, you pass that off to the younger kids.
You want to know something? When I'm looking at here, you could go to any college on a Thursday and Friday night. You see the same thing. I'm still under that investigation with that girl that disappeared at Indiana University. And when I went there on a Thursday and a Friday night, when I saw the abundance of the overdrinking, the drug usage, the overdoses, it's like every weekend. So they just prep themselves up all year long, and then when they hit the spring break, it's even get worse. But it's very prevalent in our colleges, and this is a real issue. And I have a son in college up here in Binghamton, and I believe it or not, they got worried the other day. I drove all the way up there 4.5 hours. I knocked on the door, and all of a sudden, hookah is the new thing. They smoke hookah now. But the thing that worries me about...
Thanks, Bo.
It's just tobacco, but it worries you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I went to Auburn University in the South, and spring break was huge for all of us, as I'm sure for many of you here. And the bottom line is, Sean, is that your parents, once you're 18 years old, you go off to college, they can't be there holding your hand every step of the way. So then what's next? It's about education, educating people on the dangers of mixing drugs, mixing alcohol together, and also enforcing new laws like cops and shops, cracking down on fake IDs, cracking down on bars in spring break destinations like Las Vegas or Florida, and not letting them serve people underage.
But you've gone
out of the country because the laws are different. So there is no, you have to be 21 in order to drink, and that's why they are going to these other places in order to have spring break.
Before we go any further, how many have been to spring break? We have a few young. All right. Come on, be honest.
I didn't go.
You didn't go?
No, because I knew it was debauchery and I was a boring, nerdy kid.
Right.
But the whole idea of when you look
about parents and saying that parents don't know. Spring break has been a thing since Girls Gone Wild, since there was a movie in 1983 called Spring Break. So you have to equip the kids, like Chloe said, with the knowledge, but also social media. We didn't have that back in 1983 when people were going, and now it will come to haunt you.
You know, it's interesting you say that, because Ainsley pointed out this week there was a girl that was totally naked. Guys were touching and doing all sorts of stuff to her. Now it's posted all over Instagram. It's all over Twitter, and that girl's going to have to live with that for the rest of her life. Dr. Ludwig, you deal with this. Is that going to be impactful emotionally as she gets older?
Well, in fact, they've done studies.
But I hate to tell you what I did when I was 18.
Listen,
it was bad.
I got to tell you where my mother sent me, because she didn't trust me. She sent me to Century Village. Do you know what that is in Florida?
Is that sort of like the villages where old people go?
80-year-olds and up. And so it was me and like 90-year-olds and walkers, but I didn't get in trouble.
You know where the highest percentage of STD is, right? I don't think that's a rumor either. Well, wait a minute, but I was 17 years old. Billy Cunningham, you and I are about the same age. You, of course, younger, better looking. But I was tending the bar at 17 while I was in high school, closing the bar at 4 a.m. and then going to high school.
Sean Hannity, this is endemic to America. What about the Amish? When they're 16, 17, 18, I've seen that. They go crazy. Girls gone wild. STDs with the old folks in the villages in Florida. All hell's breaking loose. These are Democratic voters in training. the Democrats. I mean, Eric Holder wants felons to vote. Yeah. And this is the future of the Democrat Party, and they're going to have a voter registration drive at Daytona.
Lynn, your reaction to that? Lynn, right there? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yes. Go ahead. Either one of you. I don't care.
Okay. My reaction is that parents today really need to get a grip on what's going on, and it stems from home when the kids are young. And I just think that what's happening today with the society and these kids, it's out of control.
You know, the thing I would worry about, and Ainsley, this is a serious side of this. We're going to go through, by the way, if you look over here, we have some of the equipment for spring break, and this would be beer pong, obviously, and apparently by law we have to have Great American beer. I just started my own brand tonight right here on the program. When we used to do as kids, we used to take can openers and you shoot a beer or shoot whatever it is. Now they've got these funnels. But here's the dangerous part. What happens to the kids that take drugs and they OD, or the ones that get alcohol poisoning? How many of you here, Joe, do you know kids that have gone to the hospital? I do. I remember kids that did a lot of drugs when I was growing up, and there's always that one kid that has the accident and is in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. The other kid you hear about, everyone's going to the funeral right before graduation at schools.
And this has been going on for a very long time, Sean. I think that we're talking about this like it's a new problem. Parents need to do something about it now. This has been going on, and people have said it before, since the beginning of college, basically. And the reason why it looks worse, it feels worse, one, we're getting older, right? So everything looks that way.
Speak for yourself. Go ahead.
But also, you know, it's because of these. I could record anything at any time. I went to Panama City in 1992. I was at Sharky's. I may have gotten overserved 1 or 2 nights.
I've been at the Floribama. I've been down there.
You know all those places.
I know all those places.
Right? Exactly.
Julia, what do you think? By the way, Julia is a former Miss New York, Miss New York?
Current Miss New York, United States.
Sorry. Yes. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. So full disclosure, I always went on family spring break vacations in college, but you have to think about the long-term effects. So with social media, that's permanent. It's on the internet, and now with this economy, it's really hard to get a job.
You think any of those kids are thinking about social media right now?
Well, they should be, because in this economy, I'm telling you, the job market, it's really challenging, and they're going to be experiencing that when they come time for graduation, and they have to look for something.
Joanne, what do you think?
How are they going to find these people? How are they going to find the names? They don't have their names next to them.
Okay, the thing is with millennials, there's 2 words to keep in mind. YOLO and FOMO.
Explain.
You only live once, and fear of missing out. Yeah. And that is like the battle cry of the college senior. And social media just like really, I don't know, brings that to the front, and kids don't want to miss out.
On job backgrounds, now we use the social media. We go into Facebooks, we actually look at that. And if things are on there that are not quite right, you could lose a job because of it. parents should tell their kids what you're doing today could stay with you for the rest of your life.
Dr. Radcliffe, what do you think as a doctor?
Well, the problem is I have patients who come in who have been like, they've actually come in practically dead because the people they're partnering with aren't even awake enough to know that there is a problem because they're partnering as well too. So this is a tragedy, especially when they start mixing medications. They don't know something is wrong. They pass out.
And a lot of these kids, what's it's not only ecstasy, it's Molly.
Yeah, Molly. And the problem with Molly is that it sounds innocent. Molly. I mean, I had a patient who said, I can't believe Molly did this to me. It's as if it's something pleasant.
What did
it's
it
cute.
do?
So Molly is, it put her in a coma, and so she had to be intubated, had a breathing tube in, and she was in a coma for about 4 days. And when she finally woke up, she's like, I can't believe Molly did this to me.
Liz, what's your reaction?
Well, I think we also are doing something really dangerous when I was just generalizations. There are, I mean, if we look at binge drinkers and millennials, 1 in 4 are binge drinkers. So there's 3 out of 4 kids that are good kids, and they're there that can be really good influences for these kids that have lost their way. So we have to be careful with these images and with social media. It may look like it's a problem that affects all kids, but it is still a minority of kids that are engaged.
Gavin's a libertarian. Go ahead.
It's gender specific here. I mean, we as adults, we think that we can control our children, but when our children are 18, all we can do is pray that our daughters don't go down there.
Wait, hang on a second.
And hope that our daughters don't go down there.
Gavin, let me disagree with you. In most cases, those kids don't have the money to pay to go to Cancun or to Panama City.
You work at a gas station, you get $600.
If you want my money for college, you're going to play by my rules. I still have some level of control.
With my daughter, there's no way in hell she's going there. But with my sons, I hope they have a great time and I hope they enjoy themselves.
Wait a minute. I think here's the thing.
Wait a minute. You want to respond? Go ahead.
Also point out, so I write about celebrities all day long, and I'm analyzing song lyrics 24/7, and we also have to get our celebrities to stop saying, I'm not a role model. You are a role model. You're a public figure out in the public eye. These young kids are looking up to you, singing about Molly, singing about scissor, and they think, okay, I'm singing it over and over. Well, you know what? If this celebrity is singing about scissor, then why don't I try it and just see what it's like?
Real quick.
There's a developmental issue here that's going on, and you mentioned millennials, and what's happening is that it's taking everybody a lot longer to grow up. So we have this emerging adulthood.
Yeah, Bill Cunningham and I, we grew up really involved. We grew up fast.
But Bill's unique. Bill's unique. So you have these kids that really are in an adolescent state of mind. They're impulsive. Their judgment is poor. And even if you do have good parents who are giving you good values, if you are around your peers who are misbehaving,
you're going to misbehave.
That is going to have a huge influence. That's why you do it.
I agree. All right. Well, Gavin is under. How many women in the audience are mad at Gavin for saying the boys get to go, the girls stay home? Okay, I think we'll deal with that when we come back. And still ahead tonight on Hannity, we have an exclusive. The mayor and the city manager and the police chief of Panama City Beach, Florida, they're going to join me to respond for the first time on national TV to our week-long series on spring break. And are they proud of what's going on in their backyard at their beach? But first, Ainsley takes us on a ride along with the brave men and women tasked with protecting the kids that are down there partying in Florida. Our audience will be back. They'll respond as well. Stick around.
You gotta fight for your right to
Welcome back to our audience edition of Hannity. Now, while many think that the kids are going down to Florida, have some fun in the sun, they jet off for spring break, well, think again. Ainsley Earhart, she was down in Florida, and she spent an entire shift riding along with the Bay County Sheriff's Department to see just how out of control things are getting. Take a look at this.
Yeah, night before last was quiet, it was chilly, and then all of a sudden it just, all hell broke loose. We had firearms every night, I think so far we've had firearms. Mike had a guy that had a gun sitting right under the armrest, and we know that it seems like this year everybody is more physical than in years past for whatever reason. So officer safety, stay out of the crowds, make sure that you're backing each other up. If we get way too crowded and we need to be more reactive, we'll pull you back out. You know, we're trying to force every aspect that we can as far as law enforcement goes, but there's sometimes that we are just outnumbered on the beach when you have 200,000-300,000 people partying. Some things you just can't get to, be it an officer safety issue that we can't get into the middle of the crowd and deal with something. Granted, if it is obviously an issue of life-threatening nature, we'll be there and we'll go in and we'll do what we need to do. years worth of different crimes and issues and incidences in a 6-week period that usually could be spread out between a whole year of things.
Amount of arrests in the 6-week period. That 6-week period.
Oh no, our arrests go sky high. I believe last year's spring break we arrested close to 700 people in that 6-week operational period, and just last week we were already at 500. So I know we'll probably go over that amount this year. And anytime you get a few 100,000 students or tourists that want to come and party and relax and have a good time, one, definitely the alcohol is a huge issue.
Hey, how much you had to drink tonight?
I really couldn't tell you.
You couldn't tell me? Okay, well do me a favor, go ahead and place your hands behind your back, okay? You can...
Majority is alcohol related. Traffic crash or a DUI or fights and intoxication beyond their capabilities, and then you have the folks that will come in and prey on somebody that is inebriated, and then you have the robberies, and you'll have the sexual batteries.
We call them the 100-milers or 200-milers, the people that come in to prey on the college kids. College kids get drunk and scream and have fun, but we have all the other factors that come in that bring guns, that rape, rob, pilfer, and that's what we really have to deal with more than anything.
Do you see college students that are out here partying and they've partied too much and they end up dying?
It is unfortunate, but every year, unfortunately, we do work death investigations that can include alcohol poisoning, can include balcony falls, DUI accidents. It's very unfortunate, and we try and combat the problems that we see that might cause an injury like that, balcony climbing, for instance.
I know we had one balcony fall where someone fell like 8 or 9 floors and actually lived. He hit a tree. And every year that we have fatalities with that.
All right, we turn back to our studio audience. All right, Scotty, let me go to you. You heard about the 100-milers, 200. You have a group of people there from surrounding communities. They go in, they know the spring breakers are there. They're there to prey on them.
And that's completely wrong. But Sean, here's the question. Being a parent today is hard. We cannot win. My niece was down there last week in Panama City Beach, and she was with her sorority sisters.
Any of the footage?
Trust me, she kept texting me going, oh gosh, I hope, because mom and dad watch Fox News, so she was kind of scared she was going to be busted. But she's a good girl. She was down there with 16 other girls staying in a 2-bedroom condo with 1 bathroom. That was where the drama came from. They were good girls. I believe we're generalizing them, and they're good people. But parents today, we can't say no. Where parents before could say no, now you have to explain.
I have no problem saying no.
But that doesn't mean that your kids now are going to go behind your back and do it against you. You have to explain yourself. These kids are used to having conversations about it.
The problem that with parents
You
right
went
now,
to spring break. You were confessing. Where did you go?
I went to Acapulco and I went to South Beach. I did not do it like that. My clothes stayed on. I didn't drink where I couldn't. I probably had a drink or two. Okay, well, I wouldn't probably
So in other
be
words,
here.
you went before social media exploded.
It was, but thank goodness it was before. No, but I think the problem is I think people are drinking in excess and people are doing things in excess because it's not like okay. You know, it's the same thing with overeating and dessert. I give my kids a piece of chocolate every morning.
But you get caught up in that
they don't
environment.
crave it all day long.
Everybody's doing Jell-O shots. Everybody's taking one of these. Come on, let's do a shot, right? Oh, come on, pressure. Go ahead, Tom.
To Denise's point, it puts resources on police departments and ambulance and hospitals that they're not expecting. The police are arresting the people who are abusing the law or breaking the law, and the kids who are being sick or could overdose at that point in time are taken to the hospitals. It's putting terrible resources or terrible strain on the resources of these areas.
They do not have the manpower. Todd Starnes.
Correct.
Oh my God, this looked like a scene out of the movie Noah. All this debauchery. You know, back when I was a kid, I was a good Baptist kid. We went up to Dollywood and did banana pudding shots. But seriously though, there are a lot of young people out there that are not doing stuff like this. There are hundreds and hundreds of kids that are doing good things. Just last summer, they had a couple of hundred Southern Baptist kids over in Jersey building homes that were destroyed by Hurricane Sandy. So
I'm not worried about them.
Unfortunately, unfortunately, you know, we do, as someone just said, we sort of generalize here, but there are good kids out there doing good things with their spring breaks, but God help those Look, those folks are doing stuff that...
Bill Cunningham.
John, one thing, Republicans are building the homes, Democrats are the drunks. And what Gavin said, look, men and women are equal, but we're different. We don't get pregnant, and we're a little bit bigger. So if I had a college son, I'd say, here's $100, have fun. Would you ever tell your daughter, here's $100, go have some fun?
Sean.
All right. Before all hell, hang on a second. We haven't gotten Rick Unger. How many ladies want to respond to Gavin and Bill? Okay, we'll get to that. I promise. Rick Unger.
I feel like I'm at an old fogies convention. To the person down there who said Spring Break began in 1983 with the movie, trust me, Spring Break began long before 1983. That's number one. Number two.
By the way, for those at home, he is a liberal, so expect it.
And I'm
he
much
was
older
smoking
liberal.
pot in the 60s.
God, yes, I was.
Listening to the Dead.
Now,
Go ahead.
Sean, you and I both know what each other was doing when we were that age, and we survived. Sadly, some kids will not survive. That's a horrible thing. The police know they're coming for spring break. Most of these kids survive. Some of them get carried away. Most of them don't. Come on, you guys, they're going to be fine.
All right, we got to take a break. We're going to come back. We'll continue. And coming up, Ainsley is going to show us exactly what happens when your kids get locked up. It's literally like a dog cage. And the little hint we have, they have these portable jail cells. We'll show you that next. And we'll explain then later. The mayor, the police chief, the city manager of Panama City Beach, they're all here for an exclusive interview. And they'll respond for the first time on national TV to the controversial week-long series. That and much more. Are they proud of what's going on in their backyard? Straight ahead.
And we gon' make you lose your mind. Everybody just have a
All right, welcome back to our studio audience edition of Hannity. And as you saw in our last segment, spring break leads to a lot of arrests and many more than police departments are used to. So instead of the cops hauling them off to jail one by one, well, in Bay County, Florida, they have started bringing the jail to them. And Ainsley showed us exactly what they are. Now, take a look at this. You got portable holding cells and booking stations that are set up during spring break just blocks away from the beach. And you can see that they almost look like dog pens. Did you see that? All right, now, Gavin got this started. Billy Cunningham came to his defense. Gavin, you say that it's different. The parents, it's okay to send their sons to spring break.
I don't know why this is so controversial. Men and women are different. I don't know if you've ever seen them in the nude. They have totally different genitalia. Men going down there with these 100-milers, the worst that can happen is some guy pulls a gun on them, they lose the $40 in their swim trunks.
Actually,
the worst case scenario with women.
Alcohol poisoning.
Oh yeah,
boys
one
can
a
wind
year.
up in a hospital
That happens
bed.
everywhere. That's youth.
Boys
Sorry.
can get a bad batch of drugs.
Anyway,
all right, hang on.
The biggest problem with women is rape. That's much more common, much more serious.
Who's angry on the...
Don't send your daughters there. The women there are human garbage whose parents don't love them.
All right, whoa, one at a time. Yeah, go ahead.
Who is raping the women? It's the men.
Idiots and these 100-milers.
Who's getting arrested
these
in
thugs,
that footage? It's
these
only
thugs
the men.
from 100
This
miles
is a
away
crisis
who bring in guns
You're allowing
criminals.
Arguments like yours
Here's the
are
thing. Listen to me,
giving men
guys.
the right
Hold
to
on.
do that.
As a mom of 2 young boys, I want to say something very interesting. I think kids today, at young age, need to know what's going on with social media. They have to be taught at a young age the severity of this.
What about the double standard, though? I want to stay focused here.
No, I went to Syracuse. University. It was a party school. I had a great time. I went on spring break. Today, what's happening with the social media? Parents need to start at a young
Billy
age.
Cunningham, you would give $100 to your son, but you wouldn't.
I did it all the time, and I know this is politically incorrect, but boys are different than girls, and the behavior and the risk are different. We don't get pregnant. And number two, I don't worry about sexual assault.
Sean.
All right, hold on. What? One at a time. Yeah.
That is true. I mean, the end result there with promiscuity
We're learning an awful lot about biology tonight.
Yes. Oftentimes, the responsibility falls heaviest on the woman. And unfortunately now, for women, we have this Bell-Knox syndrome, right? It's about female empowerment. They don't feel like they're being degraded. They feel liberated when they do this,
Let me
which
ask
is
you a question.
unfortunate.
What about what Gavin and Billy Cunningham are saying? The boys can go. They have a.
Here's the problem. Billy. Hi, I'm Chloe. So if
that's Gavin.
Oh, Gavin. I'm Chloe. Hi, Billy. So listen, if you're telling me that you only think if the girls like me, human trash, who go down to Panama City, if you want to go down there with just guys, you think guys want to only hang out with their boys on spring break? They want girls there too. And at the end of the day, it has to do with choice.
Well, everybody get heard.
At the end of the day, it has to do with choice. It has to do with the values that you're given. It has to do with the peer pressure around you, and it has to do with the GHB that's put in unknowing girls' drinks. At the end of the day, done by who? I don't think a girl is going to date rape me. I think a guy is going to date rape me.
Gavin,
don't send your daughters there.
All right, but isn't that? But isn't that
unrealistic to think that you're not going to send your daughters to spring break? You're not going to send your daughters to spring break.
I think what they're saying. Wait a minute. Is there a double? Should there be?
There is a double standard.
But should we be more protective of our daughters seeing what's going on?
I have a son and I have a daughter, and I would be equally as worried about my son for various reasons. You know, will he get raped? What?
Mothers are.
Well, but you know what? The fathers and mothers have to be.
Sean, I got two sons, two daughters, so I can speak on both behalves here. I'll tell you the honest truth. I worry more about my daughters drinking more than my sons because the daughters are more out. And when they went on a date, their first dates when they were young kids, I worried about the poor guy that they were going out with because women are more aggressive than men.
That's growing. One at a time. Yeah.
I understand both sides.
Go ahead. Go.
Gender debate. However.
All right, hang on.
However, we're not just talking about predatory behavior, but we're also thinking about people who are amped up. Guys get amped up. They get into bar fights. I know there's a terrible story about a young kid that went to spring break just for a weekend in AC, and he got into an altercation with someone. A brick was thrown at his head, and he died on the spot. It took 5 years to even bring that man that did that to justice. So everybody is at risk if they don't use their heads.
All right, in the back.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, know your kid, whether it's a girl or a boy. Know your kid. Know if they can handle it. I went on spring break. My parents trusted me. I know how to take care of myself. I'm not going to end up with some random idiot. It doesn't matter. And by the way, at this point, we know people put things in drinks. Don't put your drink down.
All right, Julia, real quick. And then Scotty. Julia.
I don't know what I'm going to say to that. I would just say don't send your kids, period. You can talk to them about other alternatives like service trips or go on a family vacation or do something like rent a house somewhere with your girlfriends. That's what I would have done.
Yeah,
Here's the thing.
It's a good point, Scotty.
You said that pregnancy was the worst thing that can happen. No, death can happen. And the last time I checked, the Grim Reaper is not sexist like you.
Yes,
so let me just tell you, death happens to men as much as it does women. I'm going to care for
year
both.
at these things. They're a total anomaly. There's a death
and are they
at every
usually the
high
male
school.
or the woman? It's usually a man that's dying.
Every intercourse at spring break is some kind kind of a rape.
Okay? But you know what?
So women should not be there.
Whoa, whoa. Wait a minute here. Hold on. You don't think any of it's consensual?
No, it's just
Hey, Gavin. All right, we got a break. We'll come back. We'll continue. Coming up. Now you've seen lots of how out of control things can get, not only at spring break but here. But coming up next, a Hannity exclusive. We'll talk to the mayor, the police chief, the city manager of Panama City Beach, Florida, and see if they're proud of what's going on in their backyard. And they'll all join us coming up after the break to respond to our week-long series. On the very first time, they'll join us on national TV. Straight ahead. And welcome back to our audience edition of Hannity. Now, you've seen from our report just how out of control things are when you let your kids go head off to spring break. And while this happens all across the country, we sent Ainsley Earhart down to Panama City Beach, Florida, just one of the many spring break hotspots. Joining me now for reaction in their first time on national television to what our cameras caught on tape are the police chief, Drew Whitman, Mayor Gail Oberst, and City Manager Mario Gisbert is with us. Madam Mayor, we had you on report saying you were shocked by what you saw going on our report. You were really shocked?
Well, good evening, Sean. I was just kind of shocked to see it on your show. We've been a spring break destination for about 60 years. And over the years, our culture, our ways of life, our ethics have changed, and so have our spring breakers. So this is something that we're just facing. It's different.
Okay, it's different. Why? Because it's gotten a little more out of control. Hasn't it been good overall financially, though, for the city? Isn't there advertising that goes along with this, that you want the kids to go to Panama City Beach?
The city of Panama City Beach doesn't market the beach at all. What we do as a city is provide services and infrastructure, safety and that sort of thing. We have a tourist development council that actually advertises the beach, and they spend very little money advertising spring break.
Okay.
Now the merchants who benefit from it do.
All right, fair enough. But you were very aware of the things that we were showing in our report. None of that should have been new to you. You're very aware of what's going on the beach. You're aware of the drinking. You're aware of the arrests. You're aware of the 100-milers. You're aware of all of that, right?
Yes, we are, and those are certain areas of the beach. There are other areas of the beach when so many of the things that were shown are not happening. But yes, we're not pleased with it. That's not the kind of activity we'd like to see our kids do.
Police Chief, welcome to the program. It was very obvious that you guys are undermanned and doing the best job you possibly can in what can be for you guys a pretty dangerous situation. Tell us from your perspective how bad it is for dealing with this large a number of kids.
Well, thanks, Sean. We deal with this, we prepare for this all year round. This ain't something we just wake up and go to work with. After every spring break, we start planning for the future spring break. I bring in mutual aid from the Bay County Sheriff's Office, Panama City, the Florida Highway Patrol, and the Alcoholic Beverages and Tobacco Unit from the state of Florida.
Yeah.
So we have extra staff on hand. We go to extended shifts, and this is something we're prepared for. The crowds are large. We deal with anywhere between 200 and 300,000 kids during spring break, if not more. The area you went to is two of the largest nightclubs in the world, and that some of that environment is, that happens down there behind those clothes. But the actions that I saw in your video, that's not something that we taught these kids that came to Panama City Beach. That's an environment where they came from, their upbringing.
No, I understand
this
that.
new generation.
And by the way, from what I was able to see, you guys are doing a great job with the resources you have under pretty difficult circumstances. Is it true that every year that there's usually a fatality? There's usually that one kid that ends up dying?
Yes, sir. Usually we have one fatality. We had one this year. It was a spring breaker that was involved in a DUI accident, which took his life. He was a young man. Those things do happen when you have 200,000 to 300,000 kids here. Going back to the law enforcement, I'm proud of all my men and women that are out there working in the trenches. I go out there and work with them myself just to give them an extra set of hands and eyes.
Yeah, no, it's obvious you guys
are.
No, it's obvious you guys are doing a great job. I have no criticism whatsoever of the police department. I think you guys are doing the best you can and helping to keep the community safe and the kids that go down there. Let me ask you, City Manager Mario Gisbert, let me ask you this question. Knowing that this is coming every year, is there anything that you think the city ought to be doing to help protect them more? Maybe giving the police department more resources, maybe warning parents a little bit more what's happening?
Well, some of the things that we really like to do is inform the students that are here to travel in groups. A single person walking alone is always in danger of something going wrong in any situation, in any city, in any situation. So we encourage the students to walk in pairs at minimum or groups, back each other up. You want to travel safely. We have officers. I've talked to spring breakers that have said we don't have to turn around more than twice to find an officer somewhere. So we want to make sure that they can see that there's safety within
Sure.
eyesight.
And then you got to worry, I know, Chief, you got to worry about these 100-milers, these guys that are coming in just to prey on those kids. That's a big problem, right?
That is, they follow the party. They know that we're going to have large groups of kids behind certain locations at certain times of the day or night. But that's something we prepare for. We understand they're coming. We put extra officers out there. I'm very proactive. I've been with this agency just at 23 years, but I've been in law enforcement for 27 years. So it's something we plan for. We know they're going to be here Friday, Saturday nights when we have large groups of kids down here. They come down here to prey on the spring breakers or to follow the party. So my officers get out of their cars. We walk amongst them, and like the city manager just said, they know anywhere they turn around, they're going to see a police officer either in a blue uniform with my agency or a green one from the Bay County Sheriff's Office.
All right, maybe I'll be down there next year and we'll do a live show from the beach. So maybe we'll see you then. Thank you all for being with us.
All right, Sean.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, and coming up, we're going to bring back our studio audience to react to what the Panama City Beach officials just told us about the wild spring break activities all happening in Florida. That, and we're going to explain what this is, all this equipment over here, as we continue on Hannity tonight.
Don't wanna be you. Tied up
All right, welcome back to our studio audience edition of Hannity, our Spring Break Exposed. Now, we've been talking all about Panama City. Now, by the way, what is the... So the kids wear this hat, right?
Reinventing this is for moms because it's now hands-free.
Oh, okay.
And it's
is that
clean.
right?
Wine, soda, right? Hands-free.
Hands-free.
Red Bull.
Red Bull for
You know, who needs mother's little helper when you got two beer cans hanging on your head? All right, so that's obvious. Basically, you have the tube and you can suck on the beer anytime you want.
Apparently so.
Pretty good. All right. Now, by the way, this is not beer in here. This is, I think, soda. What we used to do when we were young, we put a boom hole, hold it up, open it up, and that was calling shotgun.
Yep.
All right. So that has advanced. This is called, go ahead.
Funnel. I did go to a Southern college, Auburn, but I did not do this at home, okay, because I was in a good sorority. But if we want to reenact it, Sean, shall we?
All right.
I hold
got
it
the
like
water.
this.
Right,
okay.
all right.
That's actually
I won't put in a lot.
All right, okay. Oh, okay. All right.
All right, so there's a lot of water there.
Put your thumb on it. I'm giving a tutorial right now. Oh,
Yeah.
and then,
All right, so.
Chloe!
And that's just water.
You gotta bend your knees a little bit. That's the whole trick.
All right, and everyone claps. There we go.
Go Tigers.
All right, now these obviously are
Shots.
tube shots.
Tube shots, and usually they're handed around so everyone can have one, and it's a mixed
Men don't do
drink.
these.
Sometimes it's a straight soda, but usually it's a mixed drink of sorts, and
Is it like a sweet drink?
it's usually a sweet
Bill
drink.
Cunningham is looking in the background. This is not something you've done in your life, Bill,
I
has
don't
it?
know what they're talking about.
All right, we'll check.
I have no idea.
Now, the other
what
game that they play, very popular, is beer pong. Scotty?
This is
And
called
Joe, go
beer
ahead.
pong. From 20 feet away, you're supposed to throw it in. Now, I've said that for all my Southern Baptist friends, it's called apple juice pong. That's kind of how I learned how to play it, to be honest with you. And you throw it in, and if the ball goes in the cup, you have to actually shoot that cup. See, there you go. Trust
So
is the
it would
one
go
with
in,
the hands
there's beer in here,
and
you would
it.
shoot
You have
it.
to drink it.
The
Logistically,
goal
this
is
isn't
to-
She
quite
just
right.
got you.
She did, but it's invisible, so we're fine. There's supposed to be 10 cups here, and there's actually now, Sean, tournaments, $50,000 prizes in Las Vegas. Teams ascending,
Seriously?
like 64 teams
They
from
have-
all around the country.
They
This
have
is
full
serious
bars
business.
set up that are beer pong bars advertised as the official beer pong bar of Las Vegas.
All right, now you're even. So
Jeremy, though.
I could go from 20 feet and hit that.
Yeah, that's
really
it. We
not a
got to
problem.
thank you for, I think Chloe had the hardest job, but she did good with that. All right, here's the question I have for everybody. You're talking about maybe a little, what, a shot of beer?
It depends on who you're playing with, but
or
yeah,
vodka.
normally.
Or vodka.
Or vodka.
So if you're playing and it's a long game, you could, within the course of an hour, be doing how many shots?
20.
Yeah, at
Very
least
easy. You're
20,
set up
30,
for
which
20 on it.
3 or 4 beers per hour.
No, I like a beer,
likes a
especially in the
spring
summer. I like to drink cold beer, really ice cold. That takes out all the fun of drinking a beer, and you get filled up.
Sean, the problem with something like this is that you're drinking it so quickly, so you're immediately your judgment is completely impaired. You don't feel like yourself, from what I've seen, and it's not a smart move. And then if you're getting behind the wheel of a car, or then you're going to play, beer pong, and you're drinking more, it's not a smart move.
Quantity over
And
quality,
these little
Sean.
puppies over here.
Listen, never do fireball shots, or these, because they seem sweet, right? It's in a cute little test tube,
And you
and
stand up and you can't walk.
you stand up.
And grain alcohol is not all natural. That's something you might want to stay
Yeah,
away
that might be moonshine. It
Something
used to be
like
called in the old days. All right,
The truth is,
real
Sean,
quick.
you have to realize that it's not just the kids doing this. I mean, I got introduced to this as an adult, as what beer pong was.
Really?
So it's parents that are doing this as well. Hence why I think some of these kids are doing on spring break.
So you were doing this still today?
Well, no, I'm not saying today. Thank you for that one, Mother. But no, the kids are probably doing
worried
this
about your church, your
because they
mom.
have
People are
seen
doing it.
because they've seen their parents do it. Hence why kids think it's okay to go do this.
Listen,
they've seen
I
their
know
parents.
I know parents that have smoked pot with their kids, and I'm like, what are you thinking?
Exactly.
It's crazy.
The problem
They're not
with doing
thinking.
something
Good
like
point.
this, the problem with doing all of these things is what we were talking about earlier is everybody has cell phones. Someone can take a picture of you, and then this photo on Facebook isn't going to help you. Isn't going to help you get a job or help my dress. But
And
again,
we will buy you a new dress as a result. All right, we got to take a break. We're coming back. Our closing thoughts with our studio audience coming up right after the break. Thank you.
Are we human? Or are we dancing? My sign is
All right, welcome back to Hannity. We turn back to our studio audience. All right, we got some final thoughts. I don't want to neglect this side of the table. Gavin, you want to start any more trouble?
Yeah, I'd love to start some trouble. I think that there's a great opportunity here for a small town to make a lot of money. The cops are not overwhelmed. There's a myth about social media. You just delete those pictures. The only problem here is that parents are allowing or not having a good enough relationship with their daughters where their daughters are showing up. But as far as boys go... getting pregnant is much more harmful than having some uncomfortable sex and getting mugs.
FoxNews.com.
Sean, I think what we've seen here in Panama City and quite frankly across the country is what happens when parents are not parents. They're raising, for the boys, they're raising sexual predators, and these young ladies who are disgracing themselves by running around acting like that is just outrageous. It's time for parents to start parenting and stop being friends with their kids.
It really comes down to parents. Joe, go ahead. Yeah.
Right, just to end things on somewhat of a positive note.
You knew a lot about beer pong, by the way.
A little bit too much, right? Conversation for another time. There's a fraternity, Sigma Alpha Epsilon, SAE. They're banning pledging moving forward, one of the largest fraternities in the country. More and more fraternities are banning pledging because of all the dangers that go along with hazing. So let's not paint all these kids... It's one way to put it.
That's pathetic.
Yeah, I just want to say on behalf of high school seniors everywhere, thanks for that how-to video. They're going to be far better prepared.
Oh, great.
Yeah, let's not abandon masculinity here just because some people are getting wasted.
Hey, Sean.
Well, I think the problem is that boys get alcohol poisoning. They can have seizures.
One kid gets alcohol poisoning a year.
They can take
Stop it.
Hang on.
Sound like geriatrics.
I think that the sheriff in your interview had a really good point about a buddy system. I think men should have a buddy system where they watch each other's behaviors, and when one of them wants to go rape a woman,
they should have a buddy system for crying out loud.
They should be policing their
I just want to say, I think it's great though. We're keeping this here in this great country. You know, don't go to Cancun. Stay here.
I actually think that.
Sean, let's end it on something intelligent. Let's talk to your kids.
You just
before
dissed
they
everybody
go.
in the studio.
No. Let's talk to your kids. Let them understand you know what goes on there, and you just tell them, listen to me. I trust you. You look at my eyes. I trust you. I'm not going to be there with you.
And I'll say this.
You want to know something? Maybe it won't stop.
I'll hire Bo Dietl if they're my kids. I'm a helicopter parent. All right. Thank you all. Give yourselves a big hand. That's all the time we have left. Thank you for being with us, and we hope you have a great night. Great job.